What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Hopefully everybody's been doing good since I haven't been on and all that good stuff. But yeah. So welcome to Herf Zone Live. It's been a little minute. My nerves are a little racked because it's been a while. But anyway, I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's see. We already got my boy Care Viajante from Stogie Road Cigars watching. What's up, brother? Yeah, so welcome back to Herf Zone Live, the show that is unlike any other cigar show, where we have the most eclectic lineup of guests, of which some smoke cigars and some who don't. Either way, we bring you the best content weekly. I want to give a shout out to StogieLives.com. They're a brand new social media website just for cigar smokers. And if you want to go on there, sign up and all that good stuff, then you could go ahead and check that out. And it's cigar friendly. You can post your cigars, not have to worry about all the drama with regular social media and all that. And if you look at down in the description, then we have I'm partnered with Stogie Press and Ace Prime Cigars. We're raising money for the people of Nicaragua, of Jalapa, Nicaragua, and you can read more about that on the Stogie Press article in the description in the link down below right there, and all that good stuff. So yes, it was great meeting you in person as well, brother. Appreciate you for tuning into the show. So y'all, without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and get on. We have Amendola Family Cigars. We got Jeffrey Amendola currently in the green room, and his partner Chris Monaco should be on momentarily. So waiting patiently in a Cigar Hustlers podcast green room, we got Mr. Jeffrey Amendola from Amendola Cigars, and let's get this show rolling. Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? How you doing?
Doing well, man.
I,
About to
I
light
like.
up.
I was gonna
What's
say I
that?
like that your green room is called the Cigar Hustlers Room.
Well, Cigar Hustlers podcast, they sponsor that portion of the show.
I
And
like it.
they're the reason why I have this new computer and all that. So, you know,
Oh,
they signed the check. I got me a new computer for the show, so I got to give them a shout out, man, because they show a lot of love. So, yeah, man, you definitely got
absolutely.
to check their Cigar Hustler out in Deltona, and
Yeah, look.
I'm lighting up this Amendola Family Cigars Maturo right now.
I'm gonna do that next because I smoke fast usually.
I smoke nice and slow.
I wish I
Boston
could do that.
Boston Jimmy got on to me one time. He came over to my house, and I had a few people over here in the Herf Zone. I was smoking a
Yeah.
cigar. He handed me a cigar, and I know he was talking a lot, like he tends to do. That's my brother. But so he was talking, and then and I lit up. I put the other cigar. I was done with the other cigar. I started smoking that, and then he was like only like halfway done, and I was like almost to the nub. He was like, "Bro, you smoke way too fast." And after that, I started slowing it down a little bit, man.
I
So,
know. I try. I
all
gotta
right.
get in the zone sometimes.
Oh yeah, we got Chris down here. So, what's up, brother? We already started the show. Welcome to
What's
Herf
up,
Zone
boys?
Live.
Sorry, man. I was
No,
at
it's
my
okay.
Yeah.
daughter's nativity play thing, so at her
Oh
There
yeah.
school.
he
Hey,
is.
family's important. Family's important. So,
What are you fellas up to?
man, just starting the show, and I just lit up this Maturo here.
All right.
That Jeff handed to me in Tampa when I was down there. So it was a good time Sunday though.
I'm trying to
Yeah, man.
recover. I'm trying to recover from Tampa
Hey, didn't you get back today
last night.
or last night? Okay, yeah, yeah. I know you mentioned you might be getting back today or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
Tampa. I just was there for the day, so I wasn't doing no drinking. I was on my best behavior, except I got shirtless though. But right now, I was gonna be shirtless for the show, but
Yeah, why aren't you shirtless? What's wrong with
man,
you?
it's under 70 degrees, so I can't. I was getting a little bit of a chill. It's not like cold, but I had to throw on a shirt.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
you
we're gonna
did.
get
You
it.
did manage to get one. You managed to get one Cancel shirtless.
Oh yeah, I already knew he would do
So
that.
that was good.
I told him straight up. I was like, yo, we gotta bring the pepperonis out. I'm sure you
Hey,
heard the story about he was at PCA or whatever, and then somebody put like some pepperoni right there, and then like they did like a video. Yeah,
yeah,
so that's where
I'm
that came from. So
very familiar with that situation. Hey,
yeah.
are we sure we're streaming on Facebook too, right?
No, I used to do both, but it's
YouTube.
just on it's just on YouTube. I have the link if you want
Okay.
to share that out on my page or whatever. But yeah, we're gonna get started here. Man, you guys have just recently been featured in Tobacco Business Magazine, man. Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
saw that cover, man. You guys definitely rocked it and everything. So, like, I mean, how did that whole situation come about? And like, what's been the response like for that for you guys?
It came about with well, you know the editor Antoine Reed.
Yeah,
He's
I
one
don't
of the
know him
editors for.
personally. Yeah.
Yes, he had us on his Instagram podcast, Chris. Right? I think it was the spring of last year. Or no,
Hmm.
earlier in this year.
Hmm.
And that was just a really good interview. And a couple months later, they reached out and wanted to a write up on us. So Chris and I got with him and did the interview. And we didn't know when it was coming out or when, where, what, but pleasantly surprised, man. We were really blown away by it.
Oh
So
yeah. Now, did you all have to get your own like photographer and all that, like or did they just use like promotional pictures,
We
or did they send somebody to like do a little shoot?
well, we're
we
public
we had
figures at this
those.
point, so
Yeah, okay, Jeffrey. Look at this fucking guy. Tone it down, pal. Got a long way to go, motherfucker.
it's a private joke all weekend. All weekend,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
But
But
no, we had ended up doing we needed new photos anyway, product photos. Obviously the brand changed a lot once me and Jeff linked up, so we wanted to moving forward show how the brand has changed between ownership, rebranding, the look, everything is just kind of morphed, and we needed to do updated pictures anyway. So we ended up doing that photo shoot, and then we had a couple of those pictures stored in the bank, and he
yeah,
was
that
just
was
like,
during the
listen, we want
summer.
to, yeah. He's like, we want to do an article on you guys. You guys have any, recent photos? And we're like, actually, as a matter of fact, we just got that done. And,
Perfect timing.
he wrote the article, and he went through all the pictures that we sent him, and picked out the ones that he felt, would represent us the best. So
Absolutely.
And
I'm
I
sorry I
think
missed your ass down there, Mikey. I didn't get to come hang out with you in Tampa. I have all this fucking personal bullshit going on in my life. I got to
Hey
squeeze
man.
it in, man. But hopefully
next time.
2022, I'm gonna be lot more, add a lot more things.
Oh
So
yeah, no, it was a good time, man. Met Jeff actually, I know you saw the picture. You had to have seen the picture. I was shirtless, I took the picture. He was holding up his tattoo, and
Oh
it
yeah,
was a good
I
time,
gotta
man. Ran
post
into a
that.
lot of people, so it was a good time, man. It was, I live like 2 hours away, so I just went for the day. I don't get 2 days off in a row. I work real hard, so being in the cigar industry is a lot of work. So I'm a go-to guy at the shop I work at. So got
what
to
do you
get it
do?
in. I
What are you
work at
mechan-
a cigar. No,
Are you
I
a
work at a
mechanic or
cig.
something?
No, I work at a cigar lounge called Smoke Ring 72 in Merritt Island.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
Oh,
All right.
and
Yeah, no,
and
I get it,
to
man. I do the 9 to 5 too, man. It's hard. So hey, am I lagging or something? Can you guys hear me all right?
nah,
Am I
I
am
hear
I
you
lagging?
fine.
Am
You're
I
good.
no,
chopping
you're
up?
good. You're
You're
Okay,
good.
good.
because
Perfect.
I'm getting the delay on my end. All right, all right.
And to respond to the second part of your question, Mike, I think you asked about like the feedback from the article,
Yeah.
right? So it just, as far as I understand, it just started landing at people's doors or in like the hard copy just kind of went out this early or end of November maybe. We've gotten a lot of like good response on social media from it, and I think in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, we should really start to see another sort of response from people that actually get the hard copy magazine, which is really
Nice.
nice. Actually, that was a blessing to be able to do that.
Nice. So the hard copy hasn't came out yet, or it has?
Yeah, it just did. It
It
just
just dropped.
I think end of
Okay.
I
November.
think within the last 2 weeks, right? Two,
Yeah,
three
two
weeks,
weeks.
Yeah,
Jeff.
because
It
I
just
Yeah.
asked my boss
Yeah.
about it because I asked him if he gets it. I was like, "Yo, my guests tonight, they're on the cover, man. I need a copy of that."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully he didn't throw it out already because he said he just gets it and looks through it and just fucking throws it out. I'm like, not that
Did
one, please.
no, save that one. Might be worth money someday. Maybe not, but we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, for those who don't know you guys are originally both from New York, right?
Yep.
Cool. So tell me
Yep.
about what it
Born and
was like for y'all growing up. How did your upbringing influence who you've become today?
Go ahead, Chrissy.
Um, well, I mean, growing up back in New York was, it's a different, it's a different vibe, obviously, than a lot of places in the country. It's constant go. You got to know how to grind, how to hustle. You got to have a strong mindset, to not get yourself sucked into things that could really impact your life in a negative way. You know, you got to decide what path you want to go on at a certain age, because it's very easy to get into uh, certain things back home because everybody's grinding and hustling and trying to chasing the dollar. I mean, in New York, that's what it's about. You gotta have money to play. But I grew up normal, blue collar family. Um, you know, I grew, it's later on as I got older. I ended up, I actually came to Florida for a couple of years for tech school. I worked at Ducati in Miami for about a year and a half before I headed back home when I was around 23. I was only in Florida for maybe like 2-3 years, going to tech school in Daytona, then living in Miami. Went back up to New York, fell into elevators, was an elevator mechanic for New York City Transit MTA subway system for 10 years, servicing everything from Yankee Stadium, all those elevators, escalators, going down to the 1, up to the 4, and going downtown on 25th and Harlem, Dykeman, all up the east side. Just broke my ass 15 years, man, worked, just living the dream. Eventually ended up, settling down. And once I got, ended up having a family and all that, I ended up moving down south. You get a lot more for your money. You get a better lifestyle for kids. The rest is history. I'm here now in South Carolina. I'm actually moving in a month, man. I'll be down around you, Mikey. I'm going to be in West Palm Beach. I'm moving to West Palm Beach
Oh,
at
okay,
the end of
yeah, yeah.
January.
Well, the
So,
February 23rd for the Great Smoke, I'm throwing my official birthday bash at Smoke Inn in West Palm, and
oh, shit.
it's gonna be the very
That means
first pre-party.
I gotta come to that. Hey,
Absolutely,
good, okay.
everybody's invited. Everybody's invited. Like you're gonna see the flyer
Except
more. I just
everybody's invited except for you, Jeff. You're not invited.
everybody's
No
invited.
invitation for you.
Everybody's invited. The whole whoever wants to come, but it's the first pre-party of the Great Smoke, so it's
Well,
gonna
we're
be
supposed
major.
we're supposed to be a
That's
part of
good.
that too. I haven't even
That's what I'm
touched base.
saying. That's what I'm
We're
saying.
supposed
But
to be involved in that with the Great
what
Smoke, part of the show, supposedly.
Abe will, yeah, Abe will he'll Abe works everything out, so he's very organized on that. So yeah, Jeff, go ahead and you can respond since Chris already responded to the first question, about how your upbringing kind of like influenced who you've become today.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I split my a lot of my upbringing between New York and Massachusetts, but New York has always been like this home, for me. Like always a strong connection. Even when I left and moved to North Carolina, it's like New York. New York is something about being from New York instills this thing in you, this pride, I guess. But grew up in a very very Italian family. That played a big part on my morals and my values culturally. Um, Even in both places, just seeing my grandparents, hustlers, working hard, growing up with in very strong knit communities, predominantly sons, daughters of Italian immigrants, which I feel like I was blessed to have that experience. Chris could probably relate to that too, just being in that tight knit community, where you can really
Yep.
tap into the culture of where your ancestors are from and keep those traditions alive. I've carried those through my whole life. Even now, I want my kids to have that same upbringing and experience. But looking back, I honestly think like how it shaped me today is the reason why I wanted to be in business for myself and have be an entrepreneur and have a business. But it also at the same time that's where I got my desire and passion to learn and roll cigars was from hanging out in the Bronx when I got a little older and watching some of the cigar factories up there and make building relationships with them. That that heavily shaped really now who I am today because I took all that and what Chris and I are doing now is a reflection of the passion we both have, you know, for the industry, but and tobacco and making cigars. Um, it was great. I wouldn't. There's some things I would do differently, I guess, but all good things, man. All good things. I've been in North Carolina now for I keep saying 10, but it's really been now it's like going on 11, and hopefully I'll be soon behind Chrissy there, moving to Florida. That's the plan, anyway. Next move,
That's the
next
plan.
chapter.
That's the plan. Well,
Hey,
and you know, being said with that, man, like you know, growing up in an Italian family too, like you know, Jeff touched on it. You know, you learn that certain values. You know, like I grew up, there used to be 25 people around the dinner table for Christmas. The seven fishes, you know, everybody, the aunts would be cooking. My grandmother, my nonna, you know, cooking downstairs, pots of sauce. Other people would be making cookies. It would be like nonstop. They'd be doing it till 12, 1 o'clock in the you know, fucking morning, cursing at each other, arguing. No, do the butter like that. You know, they, like you know, I miss that. Unfortunately, those days are kind of gone, and I think I appreciate, like Jeff said, the fact that I got to experience it and probably didn't really appreciate it as much as I do now at the time because you think that it's always
Exactly.
going to be that way. Me personally, over the last 6 years, I've lost two fathers, two grandmothers, a grandfather, an aunt, an uncle in 6 years. My whole family's been wiped out. So, you know, now that I have a daughter to raise, it's just very disheartening sometimes to me that I can't give her that. I mean, there's a lot of
yeah,
things you could do, no matter how successful you are, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many things you could buy your kids and do the right things by them and teach them the right values, earn things, and no matter what, you can't buy family and people and that experience. You can't. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm lucky, and I know Jeff agrees. You know, on his end, that I was able to experience that, and you know, it was a great upbringing. You know, I wish I could give it to my kid. You know, but through me and through my family and us and the people that I associate with, you know, hopefully she'll still get to see a little bit of that. But you know, it was definitely something that you know. Listen, I take pride in my culture. You know,
hmm,
and I appreciate the fact that I wouldn't want to be anything other than Italian. I love my
yep,
culture. We have the best food. Sorry, I guess you
yep.
gotta say it.
Hey, I'm
You know,
Irish and I'm Irish and Italian, and I'm more Irish, but I talk more about being Italian just because that's how you know. That's how you
so
That's
you
know.
how it
I'm
know,
always
Irish and
works,
Italian.
though.
You know,
you know,
Usually,
that's how I
Italian's
know
more
I got that
prevalent.
real blood because you know all
that's
I
it,
talk
man.
about.
Well, dude, listen, man. Especially those guys back in the day, like my uncles. I got one left down in Florida. Actually, it's another reason why I'm going down there in the Jupiter area. But you know, I don't have many left, man. But you know, those guys were tough, man. They didn't bitch and moan and whine. You know, they did what they had to do. They would do whatever they had to do for their family. You
Hmm.
know, no consequence was too big or scared them. You know, and I think you know people. I, like I said, I'm lucky that I learned a lot from people like that. A lot of life lessons,
Yeah.
and I think you know a lot of those old school values, you know, should you know be brought to the forefront again in today's society a little bit more. I think we need that. You know, respect, honor, having loyalty, having credibility, doing what you say and saying what you do, having a set of balls to go get what you want and not wait around for it to come to you or kissing somebody's ass to get it. You know, those are values that you can't
Preach.
you you can't,
Over
you
here
got to just
preaching. That's
no.
real.
I'm just saying those are values that are almost lost
Absolutely.
now today. You know,
Yep.
and
Oh,
me
I
and Jeffy
agree.
are bringing it back. Jeffy, me and you bringing it back, son.
100,
Old
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And I'm with
Go
y'all because
West.
all this new shit going on, and all this bullshit. Like I'm pretty old school too. I was even talking to my mom about this. You know, whole gender new. Like, I don't hate people that are different. I don't care what you identify as or whatever. But all this stuff of people raising their kids, be like, oh, you could choose your own gender and all that. Like, that's
That's
confusing
totally.
people. That's just confusing people, man.
I agree. Listen, it's not my place. You do what you want. It's your life. Just as long as you don't involve me in it, or my children, or my, I don't care. I don't judge people. But
Yeah.
there's a right and a wrong, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody's all about these feelings and sensitivity. It's like sack up, man. People need to sack up. Stop bitching and moaning. Be like like my grandfather was in World War II. He was at Pearl Harbor when it got bombed. He like went through crazy shit, like
Yeah,
things
mine
that
too.
we would
Yeah.
never even think of seeing. A lot of our grandparents, you know what I'm saying? They were tough people,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying you have to live like that either, but I just feel like some of those, I feel like everything is just too easily giving now. Like everybody just expects to, like they're entitled. Everybody's just entitled. Oh,
Participation
I'm
trophies.
special. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, a lot of it's because of Facebook and social media. You can get on here and you could be whoever you want to be and portray who you want to be to people. Now, some of us are real and genuine, and I think you could tell who's real and who's not. And some people are out there just playing the game. But our society has enabled that to happen. I mean, I tell Jeff all the time, like, listen, don't get me wrong. I love my devices, my iPad. All this stuff has made it easier for us to do business. It's helped, I think, the cigar industry immensely with all the influencers and guys like you that do podcasts and reviews. But at the end of the day, honestly, if you ask me, because I remember in high school, man, I didn't have a cell phone growing up in high school. You know what I'm saying? We had beepers. If I used to carry around a
And
roll of quarters in
quarters.
my pocket, and if I'm near a payphone, which most people don't even know what that is anymore, a payphone, these kids today. But if I'm near a payphone, I could drop a quarter in the slot. All right, we'll talk. But other than that, now it's with these cell phones that everybody just feels they have constant access to you all the time, any time of the day, any day of the week. Like, think about it. 20 years ago, nobody would call you on a Sunday. Never.
Nah.
Work.
That is
Now,
true.
work will call you on Sunday, on Christmas at 7. They don't care, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I just think that these devices, people have been so sucked into this digital world that they're forgotten how to have normal, real communicative skills with people and real
It,
conversations.
it's a blessing and
Because,
a curse.
yeah,
That's how I look at it.
so,
Yep.
you know,
Absolutely.
my rant's
Now,
over. Sorry.
no, 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 that's cool. Now, see, that's what my show's all about. Like my show, like I prepare notes and all that shit. But like, I was already talking to Jeff. He was like, "How long did this last?" I was like, "Generally, like an hour or less, but we could go however long, because we get along pretty well." But I've watched the other interviews. I do my research. I'm not, I ask all the right stuff. So this weekend I learned a pretty cool tidbit of information about Jeff. He used to rap. And I
Ah,
did too. I did too. So we were sitting around the table, and then I pulled out some old stuff that I
Oh,
recorded. So,
shit.
dude, I
so
was
I like,
impressed, bro. You had a good. You should put that as your intro, bro. That was a good
Mikey got
song.
bars? Mikey, you got bars
Yeah,
over there?
yeah, I used to
that
rap
was.
a while ago when I was younger. So,
All
Yeah,
right.
now
but
Well,
this
I
is
like,
gotta get
like.
on. I gotta get on the
he-
drum set. We'll get Jeffy on the bass, and then you can
I
rock
do
out
play
some
bass.
some
Yeah.
some bars, bro. I was in a metal band, dude. So I like. I mean, I love hip hop, old school. I can't listen to new shit a lot, but I listen. I mean, I'm a big. I'm from Yonkers originally, born Westchester County. So I love D Block, Rough Riders, Jadakiss, Styles P.
oh yeah.
Jada.
That's my set, man. But I was in a metal band, dude, so I'm all about music, man. So that's awesome that you could spit like that, man. I gotta
No,
I gotta see what you got one day when we
he
meet up.
was good, bro.
Get you a little sauced up, bro. Make you feel a little loose. See what you got.
See, I was telling Jeff, I was like, yo, like I never was a freestyle. I could write, but I just never was a real, a good freestyler. But I'm a good writer, so. But yeah, so Jeff, like, tell us more about that, and then Chris, we'll have you talk about because I never would think that you would, be, we're in a heavy metal band. Like, so Jeff, you start off talking about, when you rap, like, were you in a group or how long did you do that for?
um, yeah. So I started kind of just doing it on my own. Like I was like you, I was a writer. Like even a younger kid, I was always like writing poems or like slam poetry and stuff, and I liked that. And then what really got me into it was when I learned how to play bass. There were a lot of break dancers in my neighborhood. Like a couple of guys I went to school with, got really heavy into breakdancing. But we started, instead of playing the music on a CD, we would try to play music live for these kids to dance to. So I was like 15, 16 maybe at the time. So we had a drummer, bass, keys, and we try to make like live, what do you call it, like the freestyle music, like the b-boy music and stuff. We make
Yeah.
our own beats. But that turned into me getting a hold of some beats, and then I was like, let me try to rap, because that was like the thing. Yeah, back early 90s, mid 98, 99, we would just sit around, listen to hip hop, and try to rap like our favorite rappers, Um,
I got to get you and Brian to sing together, pal.
yeah, I know. But I was in a group. I was in 2 or 3 groups actually. The one that we were really making better recordings and a little more like nice sound was a group called All City, and that was actually when I was in Mass. This is when I was 22, 23. We did we had some EPs out. We were just doing local shows, local concerts. And I did actually did an internship in Nashville with production of learning stage presence, lighting, engineering, making music, making beats, like sound, a lot of tech stuff, because I wanted to learn that too. I thought I would pursue that later on. Um, but yeah, I mean, from the time I was about 15, 16 till 22, 23, I was in a couple different bands. Some were live where we would play music and rap. There's some singers, and then we would collab with a lot of other guys in the area and just do EPs for the town or area we were in, and just put it out and got a little local radio play. Nothing crazy, but yeah, I loved it. I love music. I still do. Kind of wish I kept going a little bit. I had my bass guitar sitting over there, my guitar, beats, but it was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, Chris. So, like, I would have never put you as being in a heavy metal band. You look like you'd be part of like Terror Squad or something like that. So, like, so tell us about that
He
point.
was, but had to let him go.
No, man, I've always been just into music. I mean, growing up, my parents, they ended up getting divorced when I was young. So my father, for a little while before he actually ended up moving down to Florida, lived in Long Island. So he used to come, pick me up, Yonkers, Westchester area, on the weekends, every other weekend. And it started off more as like, he would always play the old stuff like Jefferson Airplane and Mountain and Jimi Hendrix and all the classic rock, Zeppelin, The Doors, and I was always into music. I started feeling like really like feeling it. And then as I got older, maybe when I was like 8 or 9, then I started playing the guitar a little bit. But the guitar for me, now my father was a drummer in a band, so he always had a set up at his house. So when I was doing the guitar thing for like a year, I was going to lessons. I'm like, man, like it wasn't. I was able to do it. I could play scales and chords and all that, but it wasn't like I didn't have like I don't know. It wasn't like it didn't just click to me. Like I had to really work at it. Whereas I got on a drum set and I just did it, and I wouldn't even know how I did it. I just did it, kind of thing. It was more of a natural instrument for me, and maybe that's in the bloodline. I don't know. And as I got older, and my taste started to progress as I got older, got into high school. I always liked hip hop too, but I liked hip hop when it was raw. That's why I'm not
Yeah.
really big into hip hop anymore. I was a '90s hip hop dude,
Same
early
here.
2000s when it was raw, when you could
Yep.
just put on
That's all I listen to.
just a hard beat and just flow over a beat, no chorus, no shiny shit, and none of that glitzy. That's why I love Rough Riders and D Block, because they always keep it like that. Since '98, man.
Hmm.
So. But going back to the metal thing was, so I was into all types of music, classic, metal, rock, but as I got older and as I started getting better on the set, I liked playing more aggressive music because I was big into double bassing and blast beats and like, you know what I'm saying? So, as I got older, my taste just progressed, and for a little while, about like 20, when I was 20, I kind of was getting into a lot of trouble in New York. That was the reason why I left, actually come down to Florida, go to tech school, kind of I got kicked out when I was around 18 years old. I was getting into a lot of trouble. I was, just, I had issues, and I needed to kind of get out of there, and that's what kind of got me to Florida. So for about 5, 10 years, I didn't really mess around with music. I had apartments. I didn't have a place to get a full set. I would get like little, electric pads, and practice on headphones whenever I was just frustrated or wanted to play. And then eventually, when I moved back to New York, um, I started really getting into it. That was like when I was like 27, 28. I moved back when I was 23, and then for those next 4 years, I started really heavily getting into it. Tried out for a band that was kind of already put together, that was already kind of doing little mini tours in the area, Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and it just clicked, man. I fell in love with it, and honestly, for like the next 5 years after, I mean, that's all I did. I never thought I was going to get in the cigar industry. I never thought I was going to be. I thought that music was going to be my life, man. I mean, we toured, we did little mini tours, we got radio play, we played Mayhem Festival, we played Stone Pony. We opened up for some, bigger national bands like Sworn Enemy, Visions of Disorder. So we had a lot of fun, man. It was one of the best times of my life. My girlfriend at the time, is now my wife, ended up getting pregnant. And at that time, we were actually getting ready. We had just did a demo album with El Nino, produced the album for us over in Sound War Studios in Hoboken, and we were actually getting ready to go on tour, little mini tour within the Northeast area, and my singer had issues. He ended up moving. I ended up having a daughter on the way, and it just wasn't. Listen, man, I love that, but it's a different lifestyle, and if you're not ready for it, it's not a lifestyle for the faint at heart. It's not a lifestyle for weak-minded people. It's not a lifestyle for people who are trying to, there's a lot of temptations. And if you're
Yeah.
trying to build a family, it's really hard to be on the road all the time. You have to be I hate to say it, and no disrespect to any of my friends. I mean, I still have friends in the business. Talk to the guys from El Nino. They still tour. They do, you know, you got to be really selfish. You got to be willing to give up everything in your life and every important thing and put you in that band first. And I did that for, 5 years. We all did.
Yeah.
But, there comes a time where it's like, you got to shit or get off the pot. Are you going to spend the next couple years destroying what you do have and the good things that are coming in the family life that you do have just to trace that dream that you might not get? You have to take that into consideration and put things into perspective at a certain point in your life. And at that point in my life, I was 30, 32 when I quit, and I did it when I was like 27, 28. So I did it a good 5 years, and I'm talking like I'd work all day in Manhattan, and I'd leave Manhattan, go home, work out for an hour, get in the car, drive to Jersey, get to the studio by 7, stay in the studio from 7 till 1 in the morning, drive back home to New York, wake up at 4 o'clock to get on a train and go at it, or do shows. I mean, I would do shows in Clifton in Jersey, at Dingbats till like we'd get on stage at like 1 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, like, and then I wouldn't get. I'd have a bottle of Jameson down, that I'm drinking behind my set while I'm playing, and be housed to drive home and not even maybe get a half hour of sleep and then go to work all day. So, you gotta really want it. That's a different, that's a young man's game. I'm too
Hmm.
old for that shit. I'm 39
Yep.
years old. That ship has sailed for me, and
Yep.
that's actually how that segued me getting into the cigar game. Honestly, because my wife was like, "What is going on with you?" Like once I left the band, that was my outlet. So it was like no, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. That was my only purpose. I was like, "All right, that was my purpose in life. What's my purpose now?" And
Yeah.
obviously my wife and my kid were, but as you have to have that, you have to have an outlet. And my wife was like, listen, Anthony, he knows your family, you always go up there and get cigars for Vince, and why don't you become part of the cigar lounge and see what that's all about? And I was like, yeah, why not? I went up there, and I just met so many awesome people from my area that on a normal day would probably never even talk to me. I mean, you know I was sitting there with detectives and judges and lawyers and steam fitters and people from all just different backgrounds, and this was the equalizer, man. Like, like it didn't matter. I'm a blue collar elevator mechanic in the city. This is like, the mayor of my town, and we're sitting playing cards, and and it
Yeah.
didn't matter. And I really just fell in love with that's what made me fall in love with the culture. And then I just, whenever I do something and I fall in love with something, man, I like go all out, like balls to the wall. There's no like halfway. It's either all the way or not. And once I got involved with the cigars, and I got bit by the beetle, man, that was it, man. That was the rest is history. Now I'm here.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Now, so
so
how did each of you, you kind of gave like a little introduction to how you kind of started getting into cigars or whatever, but like, how did you get into it as a hobby? Not like entering the industry yet, but like, you said your wife kind of told you to do that, Chris, but Jeff, let's start with you. How did you get into cigars as a hobby?
Cigars as a hobby. Yeah, it started when I mentioned it a little bit earlier about hanging out in some of the factories in New York City that were still active in making cigars, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was around 16, 18, but that's where I kind of got really into. Well, not in. I got into the what cigars were. I started smoking more as a hobby when I was living in right before I moved to North Carolina. Actually, I was living in Mass, and my brother-in-law and I would go visit this a local shop up there, and that's when I really started to smoke and get into it. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I was in the police academy at the time actually, and that's where it became my thing. It was on weekends, nights. I'm like I needed an outlet. I ended up bringing a whole bunch of cigars with me from the Bronx, and I met a cigar roller in Mass, and I had these hand rolled cigars I thought were awesome, and I got really into it between 23 and 25 as a hobby. Just loving to smoke cigars and learn about them. Learn about tobacco and everything.
Yeah. Now, Chris, you kind of gave us that intro or whatever. So, is that your first initial entrance into cigars as a hobby? Your wife telling you like, "Yo, like go to the cigar lounge," or did you like kind of experiment like before then?
yeah, I mean, I used to smoke one on like the holidays with my father. Like but it wasn't like an everyday thing. It was
Right.
more of like a when I'm with the family on a holiday. Once dinner was over, we'd all go outside, have an espresso, have cigar. Me, my uncles, my father. Even some of my cousins. I mean, even when we were younger, man. I mean, I know this is crazy now, but like my grandfather, my no made wine, fresh wine, homemade wine every year. So when we were 7, 8 years old, I was drinking wine. I mean, in an Italian family, that's just the way it is. And it
Just
wasn't like they
normal.
were giving us things of wine to get wasted, but they would give us, they would pour a little thing for the kids at dinner with pasta. Right, Jeff? You used to probably have the same thing during
It's good.
Christmas or
It's good for the
Easter.
heart.
Yeah, they used to say it's good for the heart. They
Good for the
wouldn't get us.
blood.
Yeah, so but yeah,
Yeah.
we have a little glass of wine. He let me take a puff off a cigar. And then as I got older, obviously 16, 17, 18, we would indulge more with them. But that's where it started, and then but I didn't really get like passionate and really decide like this is something that I want to do moving forward until I got into the lounge. I mean, that really sealed the deal. I mean, I was there. There was a certain point that I was working. When the first year my daughter was actually born, I was working nights at Yankee Stadium from Yankee Stadium up to and Dykeman Street up to 125th in Harlem, and I would literally I did 10 to what did I do 10 to 6 a.m. So I would sleep all day and then go to work at night. While my kid and my wife were at school and work, it was opposite. So that was really tough. But I remember always waking up at like 1 in the afternoon before my shift, and I would go to the cigar lounge and blow down like 2, 3 cigars before I would go into work. And
Yeah.
I just fell in love with it, man. Just the whole thing, just the whole vibe of it, and I started getting more into the brands and the stories behind the brands and the culture and the history of it, and starting to wanting to mess with tobacco and you know um so I really just it just once the beetle bit me, man, that was it. Like I said, like when I get into something, I'm like that with everything. I was like that with music. I was like that when I used to ride bikes. I was a motorcycle mechanic. Like that's all I think about when I get into something. And now I'm at an age and a point in my life where I've been through kind of all that stuff. I'm more in like the chill mode now. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not that old, but I'm still. I mean, I'm not in my 20s no more. I'm more into that chill vibe, and that's why me and Jeff, when we linked up, it just clicked because we were on the same page. There was no work. I mean, at the relationship that we built at all. It was just like instant family. Like right away, we just clicked. We knew what we wanted. We knew, the direction that we wanted to go in. I felt on my end that I could bring something to the table that he was lacking on at the time. I knew that he would be able to help me get my foot in the door into the business because I knew that I wanted to get into the business, but I knew that I didn't want to do it by myself because, I mean, cigars are about community, culture. I didn't want to
Yep.
just be like the face and do it all on my own. And like, I want to enjoy this with somebody who enjoys it just as much as I do. So, and it just
Yeah.
worked out. We both know what our strengths are, and we're both capable of stepping in whenever we need to and covering each other's ass when we have to on certain projects or certain aspects of the business. But we also know our strengths, and Jeff knows that he needs to let me do my thing, and I know that I need to let him do his thing, and we're happy for each other's successes because at the end of the day, it's all about the team. It's not about one
Yep.
person; it's about the team. And that's the mindset that we have over here with our brand. So
Absolutely. Now, so Jeff, you used to be in law enforcement. You were a
Hmm.
SVU detective and all that, and then you started.
15
You
years ago, Jeff, you would have been chasing my ass. You would have been chasing my ass. Oh my God, there's a perp. I gotta get that motherfucker. You would have been on my ass so quick.
Most wanted, Chris Monaco. Proceed,
Hey.
proceed with
No,
caution. Armed and dangerous.
the guy would have been squeezing the cuffs on tight. You were one of those motherfuckers, huh, Jeffy? You
No,
were like
no,
real tight, cutting off the
Hold on, hold on.
circulation.
Hold on. Put the hand like that. Like, get your hands
Put the
behind
no,
your
bracelets
back.
on.
No, I was just
not
playing. So
me.
yeah, so I'm kind of taking it, because we're going kind of long here, so I'm rolling it all so that you could get into your point. But so you started doing that, and you kind of got into the cigar business on the side, and you came to Florida and you studied about how to roll cigars with the Delmar
Yeah,
Matos from La Ferrona Cigars and Ybor.
yeah,
So tell us about like that time, and around that time is when before it was called Amendola, you called it Bull City Cigar. So kind of just give us that rundown of, that history of, how you guys started an actual cigar business.
yeah. Yeah. So as when I was a cop, people just started calling me the cigar boss. I think it was just because I always had cigars on me, and anytime I was not working, or even while we were working night shifts and training, I always had cigars, and I brought cigars for everybody. 3 o'clock in the morning, I would bring a humidor to work. We might light up a cigar, get coffee with my coworkers. But I kind of, I got this, I became this cigar guy, right? And I'm like, well, that's cool. I was like, but I always had this desire to, like I said, have my own thing, right? I wanted, I didn't see myself in law enforcement really for the rest of my life. Like, great experience, but there's always something more that I wanted to do. And the cigar thing kind of just started happening, and I was like, let me, and I wanted to make some more money. So um, I started doing these events where on my time off, I would actually get cigars from some of the factories up in New York and unbanded. I would say, look, this is what I want. They would send them down to me, and I would find cigar friendly bar and restaurants, and I'd work out a deal with them and say, look, can I come in and sell? I'll bring you at least 20 people that'll buy from the bar just to create a nice cigar ambiance vibe. There's not a lot of cigar lounges here at the time. So I started doing that, and that was a lot of fun. Then I had the idea that I would love to, instead of rely on other people to make my cigars, I wanted to make my own. And I thought there's no cigar rollers in North Carolina, and I was like, man, I should totally tap into this because no one else is doing it. I'd be the only one. Like I already got this little locally. People knew me as a cigar guy, and someone in my circle was like, "Why don't you go to Ybor City?" I never heard of Ybor City before. I knew Tampa. I knew cigars were everywhere down there. I was like, Ybor. So I started doing research on Tampa, and I'm like, "Oh, Fuente started here. JC Newman's here. Yeah, all right, making sense, right?" So I went down. I had a 7-day stretch off every month with my schedule, and I went down there kind of on a whim and walked into a couple shops, factories down on 7th in Ybor, and I ended up seeing Odelma rolling cigars in the window. I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, this is like about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, her original store was like real narrow, long,
Yeah.
shotgun style, and she would sit in the window and roll. And I walked in there, met her husband, son, and there was tobacco everywhere. I'm like, this is perfect. And I asked her, I said, listen, I don't know if you do this, but I have a little event business going on, and I really want to learn how to roll cigars. And she was like, I'd love to teach you. We just put in extra tables to maybe start training and doing a class. And she said, well, let's find a time, pick a week or two, come back. And I did that. And she was I got all the hands-on rolling, prepping tobacco, blending, bunching, wrapping. I did it with her. We did it for solid 40, 50 hours. And I felt like I was capable enough. So I made some connections through her. And my guys, Martinez in New York City, I got some tools of the trade. Found a tobacco guy in Miami. And I opened up I rented out an office underneath a coffee shop in Durham. And we were just making cigars in there, like on my times off, after work, before work, making cigars and just selling them locally at the events. People started hiring me for weddings and private parties to roll cigars at. Eventually led into, I had other rollers that came to work for me, one from the DR, one guy from New York. Had a Cuban woman that fled Cuba, actually landed in Raleigh. She helped get things started. And that's how the first business got started. And I called it Bull City Cigar Company, just because it was, it was very local. Durham was called Bull City, the Durham Bull Stadium. It was a thing, and I was like, well, let me tap into that local market. Did that for a while. I ended up opening up a retail shop and lounge. We only sold what I made, and my rollers made. That was a great experience. So I left the law enforcement around 2016 to do that full time. And a year or so later, that's when I rebranded to Amendola. And I had the vision of really trying to go more outside of the local community. I really wanted to start putting a brand that was more accessible, more wholesale, more distribution, and more nationwide. So that's the gist of it. Events,
Yeah.
learning how to roll, shop and lounge, Bull City,
Yeah.
Amendola, and shortly after that, I met Chris, and that's when we really started taking things to the next level.
Absolutely. Now you guys currently you make your cigars at La Zona and at the Aganorsa factory and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with the backstory of how the other factory, which I've had a couple other people from that factory. I'm not going to mention any names because I'm familiar with some of the backstories. But like how'd you guys get hooked up with those other two factories? And
Well,
Uh,
well, well, that kind of
I don't know if your
actually,
situation's the same, but I'm not about causing drama or
yeah,
nothing
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
We keep it
honestly,
real,
listen, we keep
but
it real, bro.
It it is
I'm
what it
not.
is.
Jeffy knows I'm not shy. If you ask me a question, I'm not gonna bullshit you on it.
yeah,
I'm not in the business of downing other people, but that was a major factor when we just because in the beginning when I first met Jeff, man, it was more of like listen, bro, you're Italian, you come from where I come from. I got some plugs to some of the bigger retail shops. Let me tap into those. Just I was friends with them. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. I was like, let me see what I could do, and it wasn't meant to really get involved. It was more to help him, you know, because I was like, listen, I feel I like your brand. It's Italian themed, you know. There's some changes that I think we should make, and I have to say he was very on board with a lot of the ideas that I came up with. He you know, this is his baby. You know, he started it off. It was his baby, and you know, for him to give me the the trust to mold things in a way that I feel would help us become successful, he went with it. And it's worked out greatly. One of the major things when we met, because my issue was, Jeff, you know, we have good cigars, but they're not good enough to compete with other cigars that are on that shelf. And if we want to fucking take this to
they
the end,
weren't consistent.
and they weren't consistent. I said, if we got to take this to the end, we can't have these fucking problems with the factory issues. And he agreed. You know, he had a relationship there a little bit long standing more than I did. So you know, I'm different. I'm just like, yo, if I have a problem with you, I'm cutting your head off and that's it. I'm moving on. You know, so I understand I had to be a little bit patient. I, on my end financially, was like, listen, if I'm going to put money into this thing, bro, I got to feel comfortable. And I don't feel comfortable with this situation we have going on because we ended up doing, we ended up talking and we were like, all right, let's do this one last thing and see how it goes. We did one last thing and it was horrible. It was a horrible shit show. So after that, I was like, bro, I'm fucking done. If you want to keep on going with this, then you have fun with that, but it ain't gonna be with me. And he was like, fuck this. I'm on the same page as you. Let's do this. Me and you. Let's fucking just do this and let's rock out. And luckily, through some of the, you know, relationships that we've honed in on, you know, between Illusione and then even through our old distributor, who Dustin was great to us, hooked us up with Eric. We were able to kind of finagle our way into some of these other factories. And at first, you know, we were like, man, should we do all with Eric? Should we do all with? And then, you know, we really started thinking. We're like, listen, man, we want to be diverse. We're like, we purposely are choosing not to put all our eggs in one basket at one factory. We want to have different flavors. Every, you know, tobacco is fermented differently. You could taste this Mexican San Andreas from Aganorsa and then take a Mexican San Andreas from La Zona. It tastes different because the tobacco is fermented differently. It's from a different crop. It's from you know what I'm saying? So we wanted to be able to bring that versatility to our portfolio for all our consumers. You know, so it's like, listen, if you're not into Aganorsa, some of their tobaccos, you'll be into some, you know, maybe something that we're getting out of AJ, out of Eric. We also had two blends, the Padrino and the Special, through Eric coming out of AJ's factory. So, I mean, really now it's AJ's factory, La Zona, you know, and then Aganorsa, man. I mean, if you don't like anything out of the 9 blends that we got coming out of those 3 factories, then you don't smoke cigars. I'm sorry. There has to be one that you like.
And
you know?
I gotta say, another big factor was, remember, Chris got this deal with Pravada end of 2019, and it was a large order for the Canoe cigar. And when we were first making that, that's where things were getting weird. Like, we didn't have the trust or the capability to make that cigar at that factory anymore. It was just, in both of our minds, we were like, that's not going to happen.
That was why we moved, because we were like, I told Jeff, I said, listen, bro, I'm
that
not
was the
putting
first
these fucking
step
deals
to, like,
putting these fucking deals together to get them all fucked up, because I can't on the factory can't come through with what we need. I can't have these problems, because listen, when you get an opportunity to put in a big deal with, like, you know, and you're a nobody, and they're getting, like, at that time, an absolute nobody. Nobody knew us from Adam. You know what I'm saying? And somebody's putting in a 25, 30,000, you know, 50,000 sticks order with you.
Yeah.
You don't have another chance to fuck that up. Like, you got one chance. You know what I'm saying? Like same thing with, like, when I got us into JR, and then I got us into Atlantic Cigar, because I'm personal friends with the you know, the family Scipione's with Atlantic Cigar up in New York. That's the lounges I used to go to. They used to own my lounges, the Cigar Republic. So I know Anthony and Paul, and you know what I'm saying. So that's where I was saying to him, like, listen, I'm getting these deals, bro. These guys are giving us a shot. I can't have that thought that, you know, something's gonna go wrong. You know, and we need to make sure that, you know, we're gonna do this the right way, because if we fuck this up, we ain't gonna get another chance. So you know, and that's kind of also what helped between some of the mishaps we had. We just had to move on, and you know what? I got nothing bad to say about the other factory, man. They it kept us afloat. But
Just didn't work
it was
out.
time. It just didn't work
Happened.
out, and it was time for us
It's
to
time
move
to
on.
move
You
on.
know,
And
so
everything
that's all.
happened really quick, which was great because Brian Matola with Illusione, he called when there was like, you guys need a new factory, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I called Chris and I was like, hey, I think Aganorsa is calling us in a couple days, and we were blown away by that because that was a great opportunity, and within a couple of weeks we were doing blends with them, and then with the Lazona was doing the cannolis, and it all, thank God, it all worked out really well. So
Well, because listen,
Definitely.
Mike, at the end of the day, man, no matter how much hard work you do, no matter you can get out there and knock on doors, hustle your ass off, give out samples. Guys could love the cigars. You could start picking up business, networking. If your factory isn't as serious about what you're doing as you are, it don't matter how hard you work. You're doing it all for nothing because on the back end, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
you're screwed. So that
yep,
partnership and that relationship has to be very transparent.
Yep.
It has to be where you have to express to them what your goal is out of this, and they have to be willing to do what they're. Listen, me and Jeff are two guys. We can't roll 100, 200, 300,000 cigars a year. We rely on the factory partners that we have to do what they need to do on their end so we can do what we can do on our end. You know what I'm saying? It's a machine, man, and there's a lot of moving parts. And if one part of that machine, isn't working, it affects everything. And if you have a factory partner that's really kind of like, everything's okay. I'm very big on the small touches, the finishing touches, the minor details. You know,
Mhm.
and I can't deal with somebody who's like, oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. No, it does matter. Okay, it does fucking
Absolutely.
matter.
and
So like,
and
you
here's what
know,
else will happen, right? If you're a cigar brand, have a product, but you're having issues with your product at the factory, or they're not doing things the way you want to do it, the tobacco's not the same, it's inconsistent. The consumers don't blame the factories; they
they
look at
blame
us
us.
because
Yep.
Yep.
we're the brand. So
Absolutely.
we have to definitely partner with people that take pride in what they do, and really see what we're doing and take us serious as well. You know,
Oh yeah.
so the
N-
end product is legit.
Absolutely. Now take us through the cigars in your portfolio. There's people watching, there's people that's gonna watch, after we're live and everything. And what would you suggest to them as an introduction, to Amendola family cigars?
You
That's a
think
great
Jeffy,
question. I would
the
say,
Naturale or the
well,
Sumatra,
I
the
would
green
say
cannoli?
first our core line, right? Because we blended our core line purposely with Aganorsa to be something that never goes out of style and will never change, right? Core line is a great way to start. You got the Cremoso, which is a Ecuador, Connecticut. Awesome, ton of flavor in that cigar. It looks mild and light, but it's got balls. It takes you on a roller
Ballsy for
coaster ride.
Connecticut. It's got two different
Yeah.
Lieros in there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Kevin
Two
then
Shahan
Lieros.
said it made him sweat.
yeah, right.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
know.
Just it made Jessica sweat. She could
Yeah,
smoke full body.
yeah, and then we did the Naturale, which is a true medium body cigar, Nicaraguan Habano, and Maturo, which you're smoking. To get what we are and what we do, that's a great place to start. And now, then after that, definitely got to have the cannolis. I mean, I'm smoking the Sumatra cannoli right now. These things are awesome. More of a signature line. We might not do as much as the core line, but the cannolis are. If you like a Corona size
Yeah.
and want some really good flavor, I mean, the red, the green, all of them are
That's what I'm
fantastic.
so I'm smoking the red right now, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we actually have one infused cigar in our lineup that a lot of people don't know about. So we don't, not say we don't push it, but where we push it, it kind of sells itself. It's called the dessert, and it's a hazelnut vanilla infused with a sugar tip,
It's
and
like Nutella.
it tastes like
Tastes like
Nutella,
Nutella,
really.
bro.
Yeah,
And I'm not into
Oh,
flavored shit. Neither is Jeff. That's not what we're not gonna make
So
a
I'm gonna
line
have
of
to try
flavored
that.
shit.
I'm gonna have to
But
try that then,
you
because I'm
know,
not into flavored cigars either. And I work in a
you got
shop,
it. It's worth a
and then we
shot.
sell the most of flavored cigars. Because people come in, they want acids and all that. I'm like, look, I don't smoke the flavored stuff. This is what typically sells. You try it for yourself, type thing.
mm,
You gotta try the dessert, but yeah,
nah.
I
I
would
mean, I
say
think
definitely
people love that
the
shit.
Aganorsa. Start
Well,
there.
Aganorsa, and we did that for a reason, Mikey. Like Coraline, like we wanted. Listen, Aganorsa is they source their own tobacco. They do everything from seed until it's in your hand, man. You know what I'm saying? Like everything.
Hmm.
Like they're not getting tobacco from other people. They're not like they are doing everything from the time that the seed goes in the ground, gets harvested, fermented, the whole process. And we wanted our core line to be something that was going to be consistent through and through. The tobacco was to be consistent, and that's why, like I said, core line, reliable.
Hmm.
Bread and butter, man. You want a
Yeah,
Connecticut, you want a natural, you want a Maduro, and
it's
we
there.
don't make 20 different sizes. We did that on purpose. A lot of the reason is for like, and I said this in other interviews, which I'm sure you've heard. It's for two reasons: not to overload, overwhelm the consumer, and not to overwhelm the retailer. Because as a retailer, like, all right, who are you guys? I never fucking heard of you. You think I'm going to give you, 20 facings? What are you out of your mind? It's a lot easier for us to say, listen, we sell this cigar in one size. It's very simple. Like, I mean, you
Yep.
could go through a whole portfolio. We got 9 different blends, and you got 9 facings. That's it. It's not like one blend and 10 different vitolas. This blend, I just feel like it's overwhelming. Like, we figure, why not make one really awesome cigar and one really good size that we personally love, and if we
And
want to make
blend to
something
that
another
size.
side, yeah, and blend to that size, then we will blend another cigar specific for that size and will only be made in that size. Now we did a little spin off of that, and we did it specifically for Brian. We actually did do the Good Day box,
Oh yeah,
which was our core line stuff, which is in Robustos. But Brian, Brian, we like to do
Yeah.
exclusive stuff for him. He's big on the exclusive thing that's only for the club. And I told him, I said, listen, we're gonna do our blends because they're solid. They're coming from Aganorsa. You're gonna love them, but we'll make us this size specifically to you. So Privada is the only ones that has our core line stuff in a Robusto size.
it's a three.
Nice.
It's a three pack. The Good Day
A
pack.
3-pack, 3-pack sampler. Yeah.
Nice. Sounds awesome. Now, you guys spend a lot of time on the road, visiting shops, or do you guys have like, any brokers or reps out there? I know being a small brand, you probably are out there hitting the payment yourself or whatever. But tell us
Yeah,
about that.
we do a little bit of both. A little bit of both. COVID played a factor into us visiting and traveling a lot, like we would normally do. But yeah, I mean, between Chris and I mean, Chris, Chris would get on the phone and set up an account. You know, I tend to do a lot of events where we'll try to find shops or accounts. We'll go do events at. But we do have a broker in Florida, Kim Keeney, Smokini. You know her,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
her.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she came by my shop and was hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So she's our broker in Florida. We're working on Chris, right? What
I
Midwest?
got I
We have.
got somebody. Well, we have somebody in the Midwest. We got Garrett from How
Yep.
About That Cigar Show. I guess he's doing brokerage now. Him and a partner, so just came on board. And I'm working on somebody on the West Coast who I'm trying to convince her to stop the influencer bullshit and just become a broker. Already.
Oh,
Um,
and the other cool
uh,
thing we got is with our, Lucioni is our distributor.
yes,
But
that was big.
that's a big deal. But having said that, if you're a shop that sells Illusione cigars, you now have access to our inventory and our product without signing on any new paperwork or going through all that. So we're popping up in shops and getting accounts that we don't even really necessarily approach. They're going through the Illusione portfolio that they distribute for, and they're starting to bring in Amendola, just to start giving it a shot, and we're opening a lot of doors that way too, which is really awesome,
Well, because a
really
lot
great.
of people are calling up and then they're looking at, all right, as a distributor. I mean, and listen, that was a major thing for us too. And that happened, right around the time we were starting to change the fact. I mean, all this kind of happened during COVID,
Yeah.
so it's like as much as COVID was a pain in the ass, like it
Yeah.
really gave us time to settle in, to really think about what we want to do all the name changes, the branding, the box changes, the everything. You know what I'm saying? The distribution side. That was big for us because Illusione, man, for us for them to want to reach out to us and take us in and do that for us. I mean, it really streamlined the logistical side of the business, and I deal a lot with that. Like I said, we kind of have our strengths. I'm more of the business back end thing. Jeff is your face. He goes out there. He's in front of people. I deal with a lot of the finances, the logistical timings, the factories, all the a lot of the bullshit on the back end. That was really big for us. That was monumental,
Big,
and I'm sure Jeff
big,
would agree in that because it just totally. Because
big.
before that, we had Dustin, who's doing a great job, but he's so also inundated. He has a lot of other brands. We were small. I was trying to take on a lot of that stuff on my own. We were getting nailed in fees with like PayPal and
Yeah.
all this crap. So for us to be able to now kind of take that pressure off of my shoulders and our shoulders as to worry, oh, does this order go out? Let me check up. I know that like once that call's made to Howard Illusione or anybody in that warehouse, like it's done. Like I don't have to worry about it, and it's just streamlined the business immensely that it's helped us a lot get to where we have a long way to go, but to even get where we're at now, it's really helped us a lot. So big shout out to Illusione, Howard, Brian Matola, obviously Dion, and we over here now. That's an inside joke.
Yeah.
Dion,
We over here now.
but so we've been very blessed, man. I mean, we've worked very hard. We always say we don't believe in luck. We put everything into this. In the last 3 years, we've put everything into this, man. And we're not going to stop. And we just hope people appreciate that and appreciate what we're trying to do and kind of a little bit of a new flavor. We're not, that was another thing when me and Jeff linked up and we started. I'm like, Jeff, why don't we just name things Italian names? Like, why are we doing this Spanish thing? We're not Spanish. I mean, like, why are we, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, that's kind of it. I'm like, yo, let's just rock it out. Let's be who we are, man. And let's not try to fall into like what everybody else is doing, and do something a little different. Like, like we blend the size, we use different factories. I'm not saying we're the only ones who does that. I know there's other brands that, do that too. But we're trying to be who we are, and the people that appreciate us and support us from day one are like family, and the people who don't like what we're doing or don't feel what we're doing, fuck them. I mean,
Vafangu.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, not everything's for everybody, and we're okay with that. But our brand is for everybody, man. It's for everybody. It's for the little guys. It's for the guys hustling, grinding, the blue collar guys, the white collar guys, traditional. Listen, I'm a metalhead. I tell Jeff all the time, like I love skulls and demons and all that crazy shit. But that's I wouldn't want that on my cigar. Like I want to
Yeah.
appeal. I want this brand to be a legacy brand for 20 years. That's gonna live.
Yeah.
That's gonna
Well, what do
be
we
the
say?
future. So
Tradition with a little edge.
yeah, and I always say it's
Yeah.
we're
We're all
traditional
tatted
with
up
we're
and
tradition
whatever.
with edge. Like we're traditional, but we're a little edgy too. Um, you know, and listen, some of that gimmicky stuff that works for other brands, and that's great, and I respect them, and they become successful off of it, and it works for them. And that's great. But I want, and I know Jeff wants, we want to be around for a long time. And in order to do that, we don't want to be just a flash in a pan with a gimmick stick and we'd rather build something. We'd rather take
Something
our
that
time
lasts.
to get to the top of the mountain than to blow our load and only make it halfway up, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I'm the
So
same way with everything. I've been doing this show for a year, but this year, my cousin Vinny, he passed away. Yeah, my cousin Vinny,
Boom.
Vinny,
like the movie,
Great
he
movie.
passed away.
Great movie.
Yeah, he passed away, and then my step uncle, he passed away, and then so this is my first show after probably like a month and a half. Just just I'm like it got to the point where I was starting to get lazy. So I was like, I got to break out of that laziness and just keep on moving because I'm not trying to be the biggest guy out there. Even though going to Tampa, I realized I didn't even have to say nothing. People was know who I was. So and I'm not trying to be the biggest guy. I'm not trying to grow the fastest. I'm just trying to have that
Do you,
respect.
man?
Do you?
Just be me, have that respect,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just like you guys are. So
The
But
thing
you know what,
is,
Mikey?
it's
I've
organic
noticed
growth.
you. Yeah, like, listen, man. A lot of the guys, the Bauer Burners. Big shout out to Bauer Burners. Shout out to Astro Cigar Club. Shout out to La Familia Sindicato. Mike Poe with Traficante. There's a lot of people that believed in our brand. Bauer Burners was huge.
yep,
All those guys. So, and that's what I'm saying. And I've seen you, Mike. You've grown over the last year, 2 years. I've seen you too. I watch, I pay attention. And I think honestly, at the end of the day, it's more about being genuine, and being who you are and being confident in your own skin
that's what
and
it's all
being
about.
okay to be out there and not and be secure in who you are and what you're about. And like I said, some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. At the end of the day, if listen, everybody's got an opinion, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Like, and you can't make everybody happy. And if you're sitting there trying to make everybody happy, then you're wasting your fucking time because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
absolutely,
So,
And then
absolutely, absolutely.
some people might try and cancel you, and it's not gonna. And then it's not gonna work. And it's great
mhm.
because
Well, thank God I never got canceled. Last year when I took my opinion too far. I responded very vigilantly. I put out a public apology and all that. So thank God for
Well,
that.
God bless you. You're a better man than me. We've had our issues
yeah,
too, and I'm not going to get into it. But like one thing that I'll say it here, I'll say it anywhere. We don't, get into the political. We have our own political views, but we don't get into that with our brand. Our brand is
Yeah,
for everybody, bro. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't like us because we didn't post a certain picture or do a certain thing, you know what? You can go fuck yourself. I don't care if you're white, black, green, red, Martian. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what we do. We make
yeah,
cigars for everybody. We make something to bring people together. And if you're that about that divisive shit and like, oh, you don't support
there's
this,
no
so I can't
place,
support it.
no
That
place
we don't
here,
have we don't
absolutely.
we don't have time for that. And if you don't like
no place here.
that we don't do that and play that political game and that's either for the Democrats or the Republicans, right, left. If you don't like that, then don't buy our fucking cigars.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I'll
It's
say it
fine.
straight
absolutely.
out.
It's
It's
fine.
fine. We're okay with it. You know?
Straight up.
Totally.
So So,
It is what it
but we
is.
Shoot.
support all avenues and all people who support us and are into this culture and into what this is about and community and having respect and love for each other
You
and
just said it.
that's what it's a
You said it. Respect. Because I don't have
yeah,
to agree with you. I could disagree with you and still
and
respect you
respect you.
as a
Yeah,
man.
you know.
Bottom line. That's what it
So
comes down
that's
to.
what it's all about, man. It's about respect. There's a lot of friends that
Absolutely.
I have that I don't agree with everything they do or say, but they're still my boys and I'll ride out with them any
Hmm.
minute.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So,
Respect.
and that's what it needs to be. And I think honestly, I'm not trying to preach here. I think I think the country needs to start doing that a little bit more.
Hmm.
I think the politics and
It's
the
okay to be
division
different.
and
It's
the
okay.
media and the way that the media is pushing the country to be divided is a problem. And we all as a community, people in the community need to start pushing back on all these media assholes and politicians saying no. There is no divisiveness. We're all Americans. We're all people. We're all want at the end of the day the same things. You want to make money. You want your family to do well. You want your kids to do well. You know what I'm saying? And we could all sit around the table, whether we disagree on minor things here or there, and break bread, have a fucking drink, smoke a cigar, shoot the shit, laugh, bust each other's balls. And that's really what it's about. All that other crap is nonsense. And it's just people just feed into it way too much and they let it control their they give it too much rent in their head, man. They're paying rent in their head. Too much,
Yep.
brain space, man. I don't got time for that. We got more important
Absolutely.
things to worry
Ain't
about,
nobody
bro.
got time
So
for that.
Ain't nobody
no,
got time for
no,
that.
Yeah.
no.
So we approach the point of the show. We're gonna do what's I do this from time to time. Sometimes I do like a trivia. Sometimes I do fun questions. Just to kind of spark conversation. And then after this, we end the show. So I'm probably about a good 10 or so fun questions. So you know, people that come on the show, you never know what they're gonna say. So I'll just get started here.
And we
So
don't know what you're gonna ask.
No, he
exactly,
has some. I've
that's
seen
why
some
it's
of
so
his shows,
fun.
bro. He has some
That's
questions, bro.
that's why it's so fun. Sometimes it's trivia questions. I might ask some
No.
off the wall shit. But you never know. So we're gonna get started here. So
Stay
where's
on
the
your toes,
worst?
Jeffy. Stay on your toes over there, pal.
My,
Where's the worst smelling place you've been?
ooh.
Jeff's bathroom.
Hey, that's five Maroons right there.
Five Maroons. Two, how you doing? Um, worst place? Chinatown, Manhattan.
Ooh.
Smells like dead fish and dead bodies.
All right, what about you,
Me?
Chris? Yeah.
Honestly, probably the worst smelling thing I've ever smelled was after actually Sandy, and I was working at LaGuardia Airport, and I was actually working the runway, and everything flooded. The bay came in right onto the runways, and Rikers Island is right over there, so they had the women's facility, bro. Tampons everywhere, shit, piss. That was the worst smelling, nastiest shit. Between that and probably some of the crap that I had to clean up in the trackways and the tunnels in the subway systems in the tunnels. That was probably about the worst two things I ever had to smell.
You know what I used to do? Actually, this is funny. I know I said my thing, but I'm gonna say this. When I was a cop and we had to respond to find dead bodies, the smell's horrendous. I would have a cigar in my pocket. I would keep cigars on me.
And smell it?
No, I would light it up to get that stench out of my nose. Because if we walked into the house and there's a body that was in there for 3 weeks, the fucking rigor mortis is setting in.
Oh, see, now you're making me. All right, so
I would light up a cigar and be like, all right.
See, now, Mike, I don't want to take too much of your time, but now he just made me think of something. Actually, I can tell you the worst smelling thing I've ever smelled in my entire life. In my entire life, everything I've ever been through. And I don't want to go back to my past, but when I was actually like 19, 20 years old, bro, not getting into it, I was locked up for a couple days, okay? And my cellmate was a fucking crackhead, bro, literally a bum. Dude, this guy smelled. I had to sleep under my covers in the home. I couldn't. My whole cell. I was going up to the CO like, "Yo, CO, please, bro, get this motherfucker to shower." While I was playing dominoes with all the Spanish dudes, they were like, "Yo, motherfucker, go in." They were like, "Yo, I'm gonna whoop your ass. You don't go." That's how bad this dude smelled. For 3 days, I had a bunk with this guy and the CEO, and there was empty cells next to me, and he wouldn't put them in. I was begging him. I was like, "Please, bro, this guy stinks like fucking death." That was probably the worst thing. Now that was the worst thing ever that I had to do in my life.
Gross. I just
Smell
got a whiff.
Oh, man. I'm glad I'm not getting that smell and getting sick right now.
Oh, God.
I'm not thinking of what it could be.
It was in Florida too, bro. So it was.
Oh yeah, Florida man, Florida man.
Oh man. Oh man, it's gross.
All right, here goes the next one here. So, what celebrity would you rate as a perfect 10?
Oh,
that's you, Jeffy. Go ahead.
Off the top of my head, I mean, it's always been J-Lo for me.
J-Lo. Oh yeah, she's
Jenny from the Block, bro. Since I can remember, J-Lo. To this day.
I don't discriminate, Mikey. I don't discriminate. I like. There's a lot,
There's a lot, but that was the first one that came to my head.
I don't know. I've always really liked Adriana Lima, one of the Victoria's Secret models. She was always just gorgeous to me, like natural beauty. I mean, listen, we were 90s. Pamela Anderson was the shit. I used to love Pam when she was awesome, 20 years ago. But now, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of beautiful women out there now, man. I mean,
I like to look at their hearts instead of their
yeah,
body.
Me too. I'm all about that too, Jeffy. It's all about the personality, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Hey, I've known a lot of real beautiful women, but they had a stink ass attitude, and that's
That's the
Kills
biggest
it.
turnoff, man. It kills
Yep.
it.
Kills it.
Yeah, I know.
Don't matter.
Kills it.
Yep.
Like she could be like a 6 or a 7, but have a great personality and be like, "Hey, how you doing?"
How you
Yep.
doing?
Yeah, but then you
She's
could
like
have a 10. Then you could have a 10, and she's a complete jerk off, and then it's like, bro, like I'm not even attracted to you now.
and then she's 1 out of 10 Maroons,
Well.
you know, and you're like, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what's a body part that you wouldn't mind losing?
The body. Well, I lost it already. My appendix. Got rid of that shit. That is a body part.
Yeah.
Hang
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a body part.
I got rid of it already. My appendix.
I guess considering I wouldn't have to be like physically impaired at all from it, I'll go with that, Jeffy. I'll go with that right there. That's a good one. I don't need the appendix,
No,
so take it.
it has
You know?
tendency to flare
Everything-
up.
Yeah, everything else. I mean, I don't want to lose a finger. I guess the next best thing, like if I had to lose like a body part, physical body part, not internal, I guess I would say like a finger. I guess or a toe. Yeah, I guess if I had to, but.
I want to lose all my fingers except my middle finger, so I just stick that one finger up.
Everybody's getting hit.
You're always
Everybody.
giving the finger.
I know.
you have
I
an
was like, "Hey, I
excuse.
can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help it."
Yeah.
Well,
All right. So, what ridiculous thing has someone tricked you into doing or believing?
Oh God. Tricked me into doing or believing. I don't know if that's happened to me. Oh well, the only thing I could think of was when I was a kid, and one of the older kids in the neighborhood tried to convince all of us that if your pee wasn't black, then you weren't normal. So for like a day, it was like weird. Am I wrong?
What type kids are you hanging out with, pal?
Kids from New York.
That's like severe dehydration right there.
Yeah. But no, I don't know. I don't really. Other than that, I can't really. I don't think I haven't been that gullible. Really.
Yeah, I was about to say you don't come off as a gullible type.
Not really gullible, no way.
I'm sure people have convinced Chris to do some dumb shit.
He convinced himself to do dumb shit. That's different.
Me convincing Mikey. That's the thing. I'm usually the one that was coming up with the dumb idea, trying to figure out somebody who was dumb enough to do it with me. You know.
Yeah.
So, I don't really. I don't know. I would have to think, like Jeff said, when I was a kid. Oh man, I'm trying to think. Oh, well, I guess I don't want to say that here, actually. I was going to say something, but...
after we're live, after we're done live, because you got to have some sort of a filter.
After air, yeah.
Yeah, because,
sometimes I don't have a filter. I got to filter myself,
absolutely. I'm the same way.
So
I'm just too honest at times,
Yeah, me too. Sometimes it gets me into trouble, so...
It's always got me into trouble. Like ever since my mom would be like, "Mike, it's your fucking mouth." All right, see.
Same problem, brother.
I'm just gonna do a few more questions here. That way, it doesn't get boring for the audience. So, what are some things that sound like compliments but are actually insults?
One thing I learned from being down here in the South, I'll tell you that one real quick. And at first, I thought it was a good thing. Until about like a month later when they all started telling me it's not. When they say "bless your heart" down here,
I was about to say that.
Yeah, that's what that means. That's Southern for saying you're a dumbass. Like,
bless your heart.
That's a good one. Yeah, compliments that could be insults like, "Oh, did you lose weight?" Or you never go to a woman and say, "Oh, are you pregnant?"
Are you pregnant?
You're glowing.
You're glowing. I did that one time at a previous job, and I felt like a fucking dick after that.
Full. Yeah.
I was like, "I didn't know you were pregnant. Congratulations!" And then she was like, "I'm not pregnant." I mean, she wasn't offended or mad, thank God, but I just felt, just.
Little do you know, she went home and jumped on the treadmill as soon as she got home because of you.
She started crying when you got home.
You motivated her, Mikey. See, you did
I
something
hope
good.
not.
That's the way you gotta look at it.
I mean, I just recently lost weight. This year I lost like 40 pounds. So,
Dude, I could
you
tell you
know.
lost a lot
bro.
of weight, bro.
Yeah.
So I was out there shirtless. I was out there shirtless, and people weren't like, making fun of me. They're
Hold
like, "Yo,
on.
you look so good. You lost all that weight."
No, I could tell you lost a lot of weight.
I'm on the show. I just had an intruder.
Intruder alert! Intruder alert! This is probably the most fun show. This is a great
Let
way
me
to
see that
start
bag.
back off the show.
I just had an
So,
intruder who designs these bags.
Who's that, Talib?
Yeah.
Talib, what up, man? What you doing over there?
I'm in my headphones, so everyone say what up.
what up? What up?
You get a couple.
All right, let's do one more question here. So,
What up, my man? What are you doing, brother?
all right, we're gonna do one last question here. So, what incredibly common thing have you never done?
Incredibly common thing. What's
I've
common?
never bungee jumped. I don't know if that's really common though. I've always wanted to do that.
I've never had the desire to do that.
Oh, me
Oh man, I
neither.
want to do that. I want to jump off a bridge so bad with that shit strapped to my leg.
I don't want to
Awesome.
jump out. I don't want to jump out of
Jeffy, you're
airplanes. I don't want to
you're gonna-
bungee jump. None of that. I don't
You're
want
coming, Jeffy. I'm bringing your ass,
Nope.
bro. And we're gonna go.
I like
We're
to
gonna
be.
do it.
I like to be on the ground.
We're gonna make you wear your hat when you do it too.
I'm
You do it in
gonna
style.
have to
all
get a chin strap for that. I'm not doing it.
to.
All right, Jeffy. You know what you could say? You could say snowboarding because I tried to
never
get you to
done
go
that.
snowboarding with me, and you don't want to
Never
do
done
that.
it. I don't like winter activities. Skiing, snowboarding. None of that.
I tried skiing one time. My dad, when he moved to Washington State, we went to the Snoqualmie Mountains and went out there and got ski lessons. Yeah, I was out there for probably like 30 minutes. I was like, okay, I gotta stop this. Like I wasn't even on any slopes. I was just on like flat level snow, and then I kept falling and all that shit. I was like, man, I'm done with this. I can't. It's too damn cold out here.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
all right.
fun.
You just go to the mountain. You take a little liquid courage flask with you. A little, real quick. You go down the mountain, put the headphones on. You're good, bro. Don't worry about it. You're good. That's it.
Absolutely.
Going out.
Yeah, but I
I
mean,
haven't parasailing. I guess I haven't tried that. What about you, Jeffy? Come on, come up with some things.
Common. Not very common. I'm not a common guy,
Oh God, here we go. Here we go.
I don't know. Yeah, it'd have to be winter sports or the. I don't like doing a lot of. I don't. No, but I've done it though. I don't know.
I don't know. He's not a very common guy. That's cool though. So
I'm not a common
man,
guy. I don't know what to say.
absolutely. So I hope you guys had fun tonight though on the show, man. I appreciate you guys
Yeah,
for
man.
coming on. See, I told
Thanks
you
for having
we
us.
could all talk, so I wasn't worried
Right.
about filling time. Like I didn't even ask half the questions because we got the main stuff out of the way and just kept flowing with it, and that's the way it's meant to be. So I always hate watching those shows where it's like painful to watch. I gotta see people and they're just like it's just not entertaining. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing's
Right.
been entertaining. It's just a great way to kick back off, being live and everything. So appreciate you guys for coming on. Everybody out there watching, I appreciate you guys for watching as well. And everybody that's going to watch after this, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And quickly before we get off of here, where can everybody follow you guys on social media? I know I've tagged, the Amendola on Instagram and all that, but like Chris, what's your social media and all that?
I'm the Cigaraholic on Instagram. I don't do Facebook. Jeff deals with the Facebook. I deal more with the Instagram account, the both my personal page and the business page. Jeff is the Cigar Boss. Make sure you go follow him. Jeff, I don't even know your handle or whatever the fuck it is on Facebook because I can't
No,
on
it's just
Facebook. So.
the Facebook is just Amendola Family Cigar Company. Our website is AmendolaFamilyCigars.com. Obviously, Amendola Family.
Oh,
Whoa.
Jeffy's gone. What happened?
Oh well. Let's see if he comes back. If not, yeah. I mean, at least my okay. He's back.
Yeah,
Oh,
What happened, Jeffy? You're taking off already, bro. Come on, bro.
I'm back like I
you're still
left
on the
something.
clock, pal. What are you doing?
I'm back
Banging
like I
out
left
already.
so.
Shirtless Mike kicked me off. But yeah, Insta, the Cigar Boss, and the Cigar Holder. Boom.
Cool. All right. Well,
And
I
I just want
appreciate.
to say too, Mike, thank you for having us on your platform. Thank you for inviting us on here and giving us an opportunity to connect with some of your listeners, and some of your subscribers. We really appreciate it, man. It's guys like you that and your customers and the people that watch you is the reason why we do this. We want to be, a brand for you guys to believe in the future. Um, just follow us, man. Watch what we're doing. If you haven't smoked some of our cigars, you can check us out on AtlanticCigar.com, Pravada Cigars, JR, Smoking, all online,
Small
um,
batch.
Small Batch, VSR Cigars. Just check us out. Give us a shot. Listen, there's a lot of good brands out there on the market. I smoke a lot of shit. Jeff smokes a lot of shit, man. We like good tobacco. We're not one of these brands that's going to tell you we make the absolute best cigar and you should be smoking an Amendola 3 times a day, every day. That'd be great. We're not going to mind that.
Well, you should, but
But
whatever.
yeah, but we respect this industry, respect the people that came before us. We just want to be part of the conversation. We want to be part of the future of this industry, and we just want the opportunity. So if you'll give us the opportunity to become part of your rotation, that's all we ask right now. We just want to be a part of your rotation, and to see what we got to offer, and give us a shot. That's it. And thank you for everything.
Thanks, Mike. Nice hanging
Absolutely.
with you in Tampa too. Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then once we could chop it up after. I'll let you know when we're not live, and we can talk that real shit. But yeah, everybody that's tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. Share the show for me, and I'll be back next week, same time at 7:30. You guys have a great night. Peace.